the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and on Street Talk, what we do, we talk about political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight is Mr. Marcus Jefferson, editor of the Michigan Bulletin, and he do a lot of more things, but that's as far as I'll go.
I try to stay active in the community.
Before we get into your paper, I'd like to read off some of the names of some of the papers that in the 190 years, last month made 190 years since our first newspaper come out, and some of the name was the Defender, the Crusader, the Guardian, North Star, Final Call, Mirror, Liberty, the Harlem of Freedom, Freedom Journal, and all these papers. It's a lot of more I didn't name, but 190 years last month. That's a long time for.
That's a real long time. As a matter of fact, the Michigan Bulletin just made 23 back in February, Black History Month.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, I used to be a paper boy for Muhammad Speaks. That's how I got started in the newspaper business back in the 1960s. And as you know, Malcolm X was the founder of that particular publication. And matter of fact, next month his birthday's coming up.
Yes. And in fact, we won't talk about it on this show. We won't talk about it much on this show, but June the 10th this year, we're having a Malcolm X Day. Starting at, it's on a Saturday, starting about 10 o'clock and going to about 5 o'clock. A Malcolm X Day. It's at Burns and MLK at the Shabazz School right there.
Oh yes, I'm very familiar with the Shabazz School, and I cover a lot of events that happen pertaining to his birthday and his legacy.
Yeah. But you was speaking about the Michigan Bulletin. I remember, this was some years ago. I interviewed, what was his name?
Greg Kelly?
Yeah. In fact, I got 2 3/4 tapes now. We don't do 3/4 anymore, and I don't know where I can even find anything to play 3/4 on. But I interviewed him 2 times when he was living, about 10 maybe 12 years ago. Yeah. But you cover a lot of things. I was reading every time I get a chance, I read the Michigan Bulletin, and it's interesting.
Well, what I try to do is I try to talk about things that are important to our community, whether it's health, whether it's jobs, whether it's just events and happening. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I wanted to talk about indirectly has to do with Greg. A few years back when Greg was in the hospital, matter of fact, Chris Ferguson was in the hospital as well, and it was during the holidays.
Okay.
And both of them like sweet potato pie.
Oh, okay.
And you know, they were suffering from complications with diabetes.
Okay.
And I was wanted to think of a way where I could give them something that they could eat that was not detrimental and wouldn't bring up their blood pressure. I mean, their blood sugar. So I went to the lab. I have this family recipe that's been probably 150 years in the family.
Okay.
So I said, I need to modify this to make it diabetic friendly. So I took out most of the sugar and put in some raw brown sugar, granola, homemade granola crust, and substituted things like yogurt and some other nutritious things, eggland eggs and stuff like that, and made sweet potato pie that actually tastes good and is not bad for a diabetic. That's actually a good tasting pie that's actually a little good for you as well. Matter of fact, I brought some with me.
And it looks like
And I put a few pecans on the top.
Oh, okay.
So it's made with a organic granola crust, and I'm gonna let you be the judge.
Oh, wow. Let me be the judge. Well, let's see.
Now, if I would have told you that was a diabetic sweet potato pie, would you believe me?
No, I can't tell the difference.
And that's the whole point. I wanted to have a product out there that was not only good for you, but tasted good as well. And I think I did a pretty good job.
You did. Now, how did you come up with, you say you went back home and you researched and all that. Now, do you do any other kind of pies with the?
Yes, the base pie that's been in the family for 150 years. I used to make it just for maybe Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. But if I take one to an outing, I learned very quickly. I had to fight somebody over a piece of my own pie. I said, I'm gonna take a couple. I'm gonna leave a couple at the house. We're not gonna get into this because once people taste it, they just go back for it again and again. So I'm approaching a couple of health, Whole Foods and Better Health to see if they'll carry these pies in their establishments.
That's one of the things that we as black people, we get high blood pressure. That's one of the things that I guess that's one of the worst things of all for black people, along with cancer.
Yeah, diabetes. Matter of fact, Greg died of complications from diabetes, and another one of our workers at the newspaper, who was only 34, had juvenile diabetes, and he died back in May of last year. So diabetes is not discriminatory. It takes the young with the old, and then there's other complications around it that deals with your kidneys, that deals with your heart, and it is just a devastating disease. And it seems like once they start cutting things off, it's just a matter of time.
One of the things is that I was talking to someone last week? No, a couple of weeks ago. And cause I come from Mississippi, and the food, and I don't know what happened here during the 40s, 50s, and 60s, but we ate the right foods, but we put too much sugar in a pie or too much grease in some. It's just, we had the right food, but we always overdid it.
Doctored it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we have to really watch, and after I got diagnosed with diabetes, and after Greg and Stephen passed, I started doing research, and some of the research says you got to eat this and you got to do this. And one of the suggestions was that you do 60 minutes of cardio at least 4 times a week.
Okay.
So after they died, I started doing 2 hours of cardio every day.
Okay.
And when I went back to the doctor in June, he said I didn't have to take my medicine anymore.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, because when I went there and went to the pharmacy, and he said, the pharmacist said, you're only the second or third person since I've been working here 16 years that's ever reversed their diabetes. So it can be done, but you got to have the willpower to do it.
I heard that probably a year or so ago. I heard it from I don't know what gentleman I was talking to, but I didn't know until probably 5 or 6, 8 years ago you could reverse that.
Well, think about it. The money for the hospitals and the medical profession is in keeping you with the insulin and the pills, and I think somebody said something about it's several $1,000s a year to keep a diabetic into insulin. That's a money-making thing. So who's going to tell you about prevention?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then you mentioned some other things that happens off of that, like losing limbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's basically a vascular disease, and usually starts with the toes and the feet, and they just keep going up. And I can remember, what happened with my father. They said they were going to just take his leg up to his knee, and they ended up taking it all the way, pretty much almost to his waist. And about a year later, he was gone.
Wow. Let's in the other few minutes we've got. Let's talk about the papers, the black newspapers, because I was reading that I forget who was saying it. Oh man, he was fired from the fired as head of the I forget. Anyway, he was saying that in the last few years, but it's they're coming back now. He was saying that a lot of the black newspapers had, was kind of yielding to a lot of I hate to say it, but white money, and was kind of forgetting about the black, writing about us, the black people.
Unfortunately, you need advertising dollars to sustain yourself, and one of the things I try to do is get a balance, and I try to work with more minority advertisers because we have to support our own.
Yeah.
If you want to hear news in the community and you want to hear about issues that affect you, you got to advertise, and it can't be that little, $50 ad.
Right.
You've got to do something substantial. And I find that a lot of businesses, especially minority businesses, they don't have an advertising budget. It's not built into their other bills, like their electric bill, their rent, and you need that kind of thing to sustain you. And one of the things I've always tried to do is put things in the paper that are meaningful. I know some people they'll do anything if they think they can get some money, but what we try to do is we try to do a fair and balanced reporting, and we try to report on things in the community, and I don't get into a lot of the ugliness, as I call it. If somebody did something wrong or this ugliness, there's enough other newspapers and other medias that will down our people. I'm trying to uplift our people, and I'm trying to educate our people. Matter of fact, the next edition coming out will talk about the departments that Trump is trying to eliminate, and it'll talk about some of the things that these departments do and why they're important. And when you cut things that can help with the quality of our air, the quality of our water, the quality of our food, in lieu of your friends in big business, a lot of us, we're so caught up in he told a lie on Barack or he did that, and with the other hand, while he's showing you this hand, with this other hand, he's just taking away people's rights. Matter of fact, this nomination of Gorsuch and him getting out of committee and going for the full vote, if you get a couple people in like that, because Kennedy's like 81 years old and he'll probably retire within Trump's term, and if that happens and you get a conservative court, not only will they turn back things like Roe v. Wade, then education, there'll be a whole myriad of things that we worked hard, some of us even marched for, that they can just pull all of that back.
You was mentioning that, and the thing is that as you were saying, we got two people on the court, man. It's this, what's her name? The lady that Obama.
Sotomayor?
Okay, it was the other. It's the older lady. She's 77 or something like that. So I'm afraid that she.
Well, we hope that I think you're talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that Kenny and Ginsburg don't go. Then we'll be in real big trouble. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand, more than likely, we can't do anything about the nominee that's up there now.
No.
But we've got midterm elections that are coming up, where we have to change the dynamics of the House and the Senate so that people like this don't even get nominated, that they never come out of committee. And I think that having over 50 million eligible voters who didn't vote in the last election, we're not even utilizing our constitutional right. And guess what? There's somebody out there want to take it away. There's a whole lot of courthouses, especially after Obama won the last election, that changed their voting laws to disenfranchise us.
And we, for some reason, now Obama was there for 8 years, and you would think with them voting for Obama, then voting again, you would think with all the things that he started and wasn't able to finish, you would say, I know we're going to have more people voting this time because the things that Obama started, we got to get them finished. And I'm kind of like this. Like they said, more of us voted, but in a lot of cases, they, you know how the voting thing works sometimes. They said a lot of them wasn't counted. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the results, Hillary won by almost 3 million votes. It was the Electoral College that gave Trump the nomination. But the thing is I think a lot of millennials and a lot of disenfranchised Bernie Sanders voters just stayed at home.
And that's the thing. All during last year, me, Dennis, Charles, and a few more guys, we was talking about, we got to look not only at getting her, but we got to look at if we let, Trump, who got in there, we let him get in. Look who he can put on to the court, and that happened.
Well, unfortunately, somebody like that is like a saying that we used to use: the fox guarding the hen house,
Yeah.
and everybody that he selected, for education, for health and human services, or they don't have any experience at all.
No.
So either they're totally opposed to what they're supposed to be doing, or they don't have the experience. And I think we're going to get set back, and history is going to show that this will probably be the worst president we've had in our history.
Yeah. I don't doubt that. We talk about that all the time, man. He don't know anything about what he's doing, and he got a bunch of people with him who don't know. So, he got all these people in there, but their job, they don't know anything about it.
And not only that, just the lack of professionalism and decorum that type of office would entail. I've not seen it forthcoming in this administration, and it's very sad. It's very sad for the American people. Now, if you're at that top 1 to 3 percentile, he's the greatest thing since since sliced cake.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, these are going to be tough times.
Yeah, and and to me, I don't see why they be talking about it or be showing it. But last week, in fact, I believe it was Sunday. This guy on CNBC, anyway, he showed people who voted for Hillary and then people who voted for Trump. It just blows my mind how many black people voted for Trump. It's a lot of blacks and a lot of Hispanics voted for Trump. And it's like, why?
I think people wanted a change. They wanted an outsider from the establishment, but I don't think they realized what they were really going to get. And sometime, and I was talking about this before the show, the congressmen and the senators, they get in these cushy jobs, they get all this money. That's another thing that, campaign financial reform needs to be done, because there's just too much easy money. And you're not beholden to the people who elected you. You're beholden to the people who contributed to your campaign. They had senators getting off the tarmac and going straight to a car and not going to the airport because they're scared of their constituency. What kind of craziness is that?
It's just, really, it's madness, really. We got about 5 minutes. Now, next year, we got elections coming up next year. What do you see happening next year?
I really think what should happen, and I hope it does happen, is that everybody gets involved. When Trump won, my 14-year-old cried.
Hey.
And she said, "Daddy, I'll do whatever you need me to do to see that we make a difference." And that's what you have to get started on the local level, whether it's the Ingham County Commissioner or it's school board or whatever it may be. Make sure that at least when it comes to the local and the county and the state level, that you've got people that represent your interests. And then, if there's people who didn't vote the way you wanted them to vote, this is the time to get them out. So when the next Supreme Court nominee comes along, we're not getting somebody who's out of step with what's happening with things today.
For some reason, we all come out, well, most of us be out there for every 4 years for the presidency, but when we look at, like you was saying, all the lower, the governors and stuff like that, in 4 years ago, and I don't know what it is right now, but it was 29 governors, I'm thinking of, Republican governors I think it was 29 in all 4 years ago. It might have been less than that, but anyway, we won't get out and vote unless it's a presidential.
And sometimes we want to do that either. And see, people don't realize that there's more Democrats than Republicans, but Republicans have been better at getting their people out to vote. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you know, it's just something that we have to be persistent. I mean, doggedly persistent to get a change, because you know, with these strange new voting rights laws and all the rest of this stuff, and the thing you don't want is a Supreme Court that will uphold some of this archaic stuff and permanently disfranchise us.
As soon as they would, I forget what they was doing. Anyway, states went to changing the way voting. We can't vote this, got to vote here, and what they were saying is a lot of older people and just a lot of people in general couldn't get where they needed to get to even register to vote.
Yeah, it was done on purpose. Just say you voted at a certain school that was across the street from your house for years, and all of a sudden, the next election, you've got to go 10 miles somewhere else. And, you know, all of this is by design, to disenfranchise a group, to marginalize a group. And when you marginalize somebody and you make them feel that they're not important, next thing you know, you got police shooting them, saying, "Oh, they're not important." And then the people that are watching the TV, "Oh, it's just another person dying," you know. And you know, I was talking to somebody, you know, I'm from Chicago. So how many people in Chicago died this week? Like it's a baseball score.
Yeah,
you know, I said, "Come on now."
Yeah.
You know, these are real people who are families.
We got about a half a minute. Tell us what you think is going to happen in the next election. Will we even get one of the houses back, or what we're going to get?
I think that we have a real good possibility of taking back the Senate, and if we do that, I think we can block some of these upcoming things that may be of detriment to everybody.
For the last 28, 29 minutes, we've been talking with Marcus Jefferson, editor, Michigan Bulletin, and we hope to get him back. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and I'll catch you down the next block. Peace.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine, messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, "You are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God."